Largemouth. Big largemouth, Jason. Hell yeah!
Hey, what's up guys? Nick the Informative Fisherman here on behalf of Lucky Tackle Box, and today I get the pleasure to introduce to you the Z Man Pop Shadz. These are a soft plastic topwater slash wake slash twitch slash popping walking frog style bait all in one. And the reason why I give it that crazy category is when I first opened this thing up, I was kind of like, it's a popper. Okay. And then I didn't really like it as a popper. But after I fished this thing for about 2 hours, I noticed the insane versatility and abilities this thing has, and some crazy special features to this bait. So let's break it down. Pop Shad. Rigged up or on a 4 or a 5/0 worm hook or a EWG hook, depending on the situation you're fishing. Not a big fish, but drilled them way back in those trees. So first off, let's talk about this bait. It's the Z Man Elastec floating technology. So basically, Elastec is the plastic in this, which is insanely hard to rip. It's very buoyant. The more you stretch an Elastec, the more buoyant your bait is. So if you look at this bait, it's thick, it's heavy, it's elongated, and it has a cupped mouth. So you could say, yeah, pop shad, like the name implies, you can pop it, but it's much more than that. And I'm gonna show you how to rig this in a minute, but you could twitch it slightly subsurface under the water, side to side like a fluke. You can walk it across mats. This thing skips insanely well. I would say this is, if not the best skipping plastic I have ever used in my life, it's right there with it. There may be another one that I'm thinking of in my head that's right there with it, but I can literally skip this thing, slide skip this thing over 100 feet away and just way back under trees. What that offers you is an insane amount of castability options where other anglers cannot place baits. That being said, you can catch, I've caught on Z Man baits with the Elastec, I've caught well over, my average bait can easily be 100 fish. Usually you'll end up breaking off on something before you ever damage the bait. I believe these 5-inch models like this, I think it retails around $5, you get 3. I have fished one of these for 3 full trips in a row and caught numerous fish on these things. And this one right here, if you look at this, it doesn't look like there's a thing wrong with this bait. I got 4 or 5 fish today. I lost one around 8 or 9 pounds. I got another one in the boat just under 5 pounds and a bunch of 2-pounders. And this bait doesn't have a scratch on it. That's how tough these things are. So talk about versatility. Oh, yeah. Another little guy on that Pop Shad. Pop Shad slid right up the line. Doesn't get much better than that. When a bait's willing to slide up the line, that's the benefit about plastics over one of those, you know, like a frog. Plastic will slide up that line, which takes the leverage away from the fish's mouth. So once you hook them on a Pop Shad, like the odds of losing them, very, very slim. So I'm gonna talk about how I rig this bait and then the equipment I use it on. What I have here is a 4.0 EWG. This is more of a worm style, which means if it was a creature bait style, this gap would be larger, it'd be bent out to here. But this is more of a worm style, meaning narrower. The reason for this is I'm skipping this bait. You can use it on any EWG flipping hook, as long as it's for the 5-inch, I would say a 4.0 to 5.0 is gonna be about perfect. When I'm skipping, I like a slightly smaller hook because it skips farther. You're gonna Texas rig it, so you're gonna go right in the mouth of the bait like so. And you're gonna come out past that butt chin on this thing, just slightly. And you'll see it come out right there through that butt chin, don't mind my shaky hands. And I'm gonna slide it down and I'm gonna go right in, and then you're gonna see that little part come out right there. And then you're gonna look, where does that hook go through? Pinch the bait right there, bring it out the back of that Pop Shad, like so. So now you can see that hook is in there, just like that. And since this is weedless, I'm gonna grab some of that meat, pull it up, and squeeze it back over the head of that hook. So now it's riding on that Texas rig hook, just like so. There's nothing sticking out. The line goes directly into the mouth, super, super weedless. Now, for the equipment I'm throwing this on, the same equipment I throw frogs on. I like 50-pound braid, Unless I'm skipping into super heavy stuff or going over boat docks trying to lift fish over, then I'll fish 65 like I am today. I like a 7 to a 7.5 foot fast action, medium heavy power to heavy power rod. And a heavier power rod is just going to hold up better to harder hook sets, no drag, really tight impacts on heavier braid. I like a longer handle, which is going to allow me to leverage those fish out. A shorter handle, it's much harder. The pressure's more on your wrist, and you can't leverage them out of heavy structure or cover that they may be behind. That fast action is going to give you a ton of backbone, and it's going to give you a little bit of control in the tip to allow you to place that more accurate cast. The longer the rod is generally for longer casting distance, but I like the 7 to 7.6. This happens to be a 7.4 for leverage on a hook set. I like to drill them up high and hard in that taller rod. I like to pull them out of whatever they are, under or in, and surf them across the top of the water. When I'm fishing on heavy braid, fishing heavy hooks, fishing around heavy cover or structure, I want to hook them and get them out fast. I'm not trying to play them with my drag. This is not open water fishing. That being said, I like a 7-speed reel or higher. I'm making a cast up to my target, making a short retrieve in the key strike zone next to a piece of tree, next to a tree, next to a grass mat, next to a boat dock. Once it gets to open water, when I'm throwing this type of bait that I like to put in around the thick stuff, I want to reel it up fast and get it back out there again. So that faster reel is going to help me on that. If you're having a problem with the faster reel and the drag not being strong, when you set the hook, especially if you're using braid, put your thumb on that spool when you set the hook and the drag will not slip. So that's my setup for that bad boy, and that's how you rig it. Oh yeah! There we go! There we go. Skipping the trees with the Pop Shad. There we go. Solid 4.5 pound fish on that Pop Shad. I'll take it, skipping it back up there in the trees. Haven't found a better plastic for skipping, that's for sure. Awesome new tool. Now I want to give you some examples of targets and casts I like to do with the Pop Shad. Since I said this bait's so versatile, when would I throw it? You could throw it any condition. If it's bright and sunny, I'm gonna be fishing on snotted grass or under shade or under boat dock, something where those bass are going to be hiding. On an overcast day, I'm strictly gonna cast it out there and work it across the surface just like a fluke and just twitch it, twitch it, twitch it. And that bait looks really good and it throws water. It's extremely natural. But as you can see, it's bright and sunny today. So what's my target? I'm gonna throw onto that matted grass or next to it and see if those bass will come out from under it. This bait is so versatile. Watch, I'm gonna throw it on top of this knotted grass over here. And I could twitch it just like a traditional popper, and it's gonna pop perfectly on that mat. And I can pause it in those key little pockets, and those fish will come out and they'll blow up on it. Let me show you how good this bad boy skips. Now for a little segment I like to call, Can You Skip It? Sounds like one of those blender commercials, right? Watch this. That little flick right there, that one about 45, 50 feet. Now watch this as I come up to these trees. That one's probably 50, 60 feet back under those trees. This is how good this thing skips. And I'm not talking about skipping up to the front of a dock, hitting, and it bounce skipping. I'm talking about a slide skip. Watch how many skips that thing will take. It just keeps on going. It's an incredibly good bait for that. Look at that. I can place it right where I want it. Any little shade pocket, absolutely no problem. It'll slide right in there. So I don't care whether you're throwing it in open water, when it maybe looks like a shad, you got like a shad color, looks like a frog, you can physically throw this up on the shoreline, hop it up, hop it off of there, trigger something next to the bank. You could skip it up to them. You could throw it on top of snotted grass. Super, super versatile. Just earlier today, I was driving down the Delta. I spotted some stripers working bait. I threw it out there and I lost a striper on this bait. And there's no plastic frog that you're gonna pick up, throw it out there, and a striper is gonna eat it. But this thing looks so versatile and it looks so lifelike. If you look at a plastic versus like a hollow body style bait, when you stop and you sit this in the water, it looks real. Now, why would this excel over a hollow body? Let's say that water gets a lot cleaner than it is out here today. Well, if you're working it slower and it's more subtle and it looks more real, more fish are going to eat it. It's just a plain and simple fact of the matter. And another. Yeah. So I already said you could fish this bait in just about any conditions. Gin clear water, dirty water. You're fishing in dirty water, pop it harder, fish it shallower. Dirty water, fish need to breathe. They're gonna be up shallow, near current. Pop it around that. Cleaner, calmer water, fish near giant shade lines and twitch it in open water. You make that pop, draw them up from deeper. Subtly twitch it, subsurface, just like a slow motion, walk the dog, work it like a fluke. They'll come up and grab it then. But the time of year, when do I really like to fish a bait like this? And you've probably heard me say it before. Lots of guys start fishing topwater in the early spring when that water temperature is around 58 to 60 degrees. This is subtle and calm, and it's kind of a wake bait slash topwater bait. You can start fishing this bait from 55 degrees, I would say in the spring, all the way back down to 50 degrees in the fall, and I guarantee you're gonna catch them. It's more subtle, it's more lifelike, it looks like real bait, and it is more versatile, so fish that puppy. Well guys, I'm Nick the Informative Fisherman, and that is the Z Man Pop Shadz. I'm so anxious, I need to go catch another one. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below, and we'll see you next time. Go catch them.